Back in September, I released a video where I played 1490 Doom for the first time. It's a game where you basically only have to have 3 models, and they are your Doom company. And then you fight in medieval skirmish battles over the high ground, as the creeping death, a poisonous fog, seeps in from down below and rises ever higher. So the last man standing on the highest tower usually wins the game. And in that video I told you that I had never played this game before, but I did enter a tournament for it. And that tournament was last Friday. So in this video I want to show you how I built my own custom Doom company specifically for the tournament. And of course I'll show you how the tournament went, so stay tuned for that. Alright, going into this project I had a plan. I knew I didn't want to do just any normal infantry model kitbashing, so I chose some bits that I thought would work great, and I got inspired by this mini by weirdos. He's got a little metal helmet on, and I was looking at this book by Nick Borelli. It's called Mold, Mold, Mold. And it's full of these very, very artistic kitbashes. So what I wanted to do was take some iconic elements from the classes that I chose for my warriors, like this chaos horse head for my brute, and this anvil for my blacksmith, and start with those as a starting point for the masks, because in 1490 Doom everything's full of creeping death, so you gotta wear some kind of mask or breathing apparatus so you don't just die out in the field. So everyone's wearing some sort of face coverage, and I decided those would be the focus point. So to do that, I started just gluing these masks that I cut up to a piece of wire, so I could then use these wooden dowel bits as little armatures, and I pinned those to the base as well. And then I decided my brute needed some sort of melee weapon so he could clobber people and look a little bit more intimidating than the rest, since he's the Warband's leader. And then from here I'm gonna sculpt flowing robes. That's the plan, at least. You can see the blacksmith here already turning out pretty good, and then I'm bulking up this armature with some tin foil. This is just so I don't have to use as much of the sculpting putty, because it's quite expensive and also quite heavy. So this helps me bulk out the form. And then I use milliput for the base, and then just smooth this out into like a vague cone shape for both of them. The weirdos miniature I decided was going to be my scavenger. I'm just going to leave that as is, because I think he looks great already. And here you can see how it looks once I've sculpted all of the robes on these guys. So I used some milliput for the base, and then some green stuff on top of that, because it holds its shape a little bit better. It's a little less grainy. And then used some texture paste to kind of blend it all together and make it look grimy. After all, this is medieval warfare. You can see on this guy I added some as well, just to make him fit in with the rest. Okay, it's the next day, and I took the liberty of priming them this morning. Let's see. Here you can see the brute. It's quite large. You know, I think I wasn't really sure about all of the folds and the clothing and sculpting all of that, but I think it turned out alright. I like how it looks here on the bottom. This guy, the scavenger, of course, is just stock as is. I didn't modify that at all. He was perfect already. And then my blacksmith is looking pretty good too, I think. It's all a little experimental and abstract, so, you know, we'll see how the painting goes. I don't know if you know them, but Ernest Graves Miniatures, they make pretty amazing stuff. I specifically love the way they have all of these chromatic shadows and highlights. So you can see here the black on this horse isn't just black, it's got red in the shadows and blue in the highlights. So I think I want to emulate that for the cloaks, and then for the metal parts, so the helmets and the one weapon, I've got this special Stuart Semple mirror paint. I've never really used this before. I've tried it once when I bought it, which is years ago. You can see it's a very shiny chrome finish. I don't know how well that will show up on camera, but it's very, very shiny. So hopefully the contrast of those dark but chromatic ropes with the very shiny metal finish will look cool and artsy and kind of special. That's what I'm hoping for. I didn't want these to look like any other miniature. I wanted these to be a little art project, just as a refresher from all of the normal miniature painting I've been doing. Wish me luck, and I'll see you at the painting desk. Oh, wait, 1 second. I need to show you something. I just spent 2 days cleaning and reorganizing all of my paints, but also I just got one of these. I don't know what you call it, like a letter box, like a letter setting case, and I hung it on the wall, and I think it looks really nice. And if you can see there's all sorts of little memorabilia of the channel. Some of these you don't even know yet. They're from future videos, little spoilers without context. So you can see the bee cult over there. There's the mini that I painted in Anna's workshop at Camping Kitbashed, and all sorts of other stuff. There's the goblins we painted way back at the start. So yeah, I'm really happy with how that looks in the background there. And this would be a good video background, maybe. Maybe I should switch to this instead of having my door in the background. Hey boy. Alright, well, let's get cracking. On to painting. I had a plan for this as well. I knew I wanted to start with this incubi darkness base on these robes because I wanted some very dark, almost black robes in the end, and also for the metallics, dark colors are always a good base to work off of. So I just started base coating these all in this dark teal color. To achieve this sort of chromatic shift from the shadows to the highlights, I decided to try a red wash. This is Carrabback Crimson by Citadel. And I was not sure if this was going to be intense enough, but I decided to just go for it as like a first step and see where it took me. All of the flesh I just did like a very standard Caucasian flesh tone triad, starting with Kislev flesh, I think. And that's just so I can now use the red wash on the skin and the ropes at the same time. You know, you gotta be efficient. Always remember to absorb back up some of that wash so it doesn't pool on any of the raised details. And there you go, that's the wash applied. And like I already thought, it wasn't really as intense as I would have liked. So I went back in with some corn red, which is like a desaturated cold red. And I glazed in some of that red into the recesses. Glazing, really, if you're having trouble with it, this is the easiest way I can explain. You want to mix your paints into a very, very thin, watery consistency, but then before you apply it, you want to reabsorb almost all of the moisture out of your brush. So you're left with just the pigment. And then remember, the point where your brush leaves the model is the point where the most pigment gets deposited, so that's where the color is going to be the most intense. So like here, for example, I'm glazing back up some highlights, and because I want those to be the lightest up top, I'm focusing on moving my brush strokes up towards the top of the model. And you can see how the strokes get lighter towards the top. And then it's just a classic case of going back in with some lighter highlights. I did some traditional edge highlighting in the end as well. I went a little bit lighter than I had planned, but I think it turned out good because in the tournament the lighting's gonna suck, so this helps them to stand out a little bit. Here I'm opening up my Stuart Semple mirror paint. I haven't used it at all since I bought it, so this is a good use for it, and you can see it's like really shiny. It's also not an acrylic paint, so it behaves quite differently. It's got quite a thick body to it. It was a little bit scary using this, but I think it looks pretty good once you slather it on there. And it helps these pieces to stand out as more of like an art project and less of just another miniature kitbash. And that's what I really needed, you know. This is also about what you want to do and what you're in the mood for. And I was in the mood for doing something a little bit more abstract, a little bit more artsy, and not so cookie cutter wargaming as the stuff I had been doing the last few months. So, you know, you gotta balance your own needs with the needs of your games. And I think I nailed it here, if I say so myself. I'm really happy with the result. And then here, you know, this is a little treat for me as well. I love edge highlighting. I love doing traditional layering in the Citadel heavy metal kind of style. So just highlighting up some traditional skin, it was really fun for me. Find those bits that you enjoy and then try to maximize those in your paint schemes. I think that's a good advice. And then the last little bit is this gauntlet that my brute is wearing. I decided to just do that in like a normal dark metal so it wouldn't distract from the rest. The base is just my standard mix that I always do, you know, gray with a black wash and then some off-white sort of bone-colored dry brushing highlights. I like to unify all of my bases so my models can work together. I started doing that this year. Now please enjoy some beauty shots of the finished models.
The end began in the year 1490. Accursed fog spewed forth from the earth. It choked the land, corrupted flesh, and drove men to madness. This creeping death did not come like fire or war. It seeped, it suffocated, it consumed. Cities fell silent. The great fortresses of Christendom stood as islands in a sea of rot. Lords and bishops barricaded themselves in towers, while the starving masses were left to perish below. Yet now, the battle rages on.
Right, I'm just getting ready for the Doom tournament. I'm very sleepy, it's early in the morning. I don't have my Warband sheet ready. I feel like a kid who didn't do his homework. I did finish my minis, so let's pack them up and let's get to Battlefield.
Stepping foot into Battlefield, which is a local game store, I immediately saw Flo and Chris, who organized the tournament. My friend Josh was there, unpacking his lovely Kitbashed Warband. Garrett was there. He organizes a German turnip tournament that I'm going to in January. And of course, all of these amazing, lovingly crafted tables full of medieval castles ready for us to play on. Check out this lovely welcome package, including a little tournament zine with some quick rules on the back. This was all designed by McDungeon, who's an amazing guy. He made these awesome stat cards for every class in the game. Oh, so good. People were so nice. It's just nice being part of this community, man. Everyone's just awesome. We also got these rules, quick references. I went around, I looked at all the tables, you know, I said hi to everyone that I already knew, and then it was time to start.
Fight. The mercenary bands, pilgrims, witch hunters, and marauding nobles of the region know that the Empire's days are numbered. In fort battles, several Doom companies fight for influence, supplies, refuge. You have gathered your small band of followers around you, and are looking for a place where you can escape the creeping death. You are not alone.
And with those words, the first game began. I was up against Dom, and I brought my Doom company that I had kitbashed and painted 2 days before the tournament. I started by moving my scavenger up this little tower. Dom did the same with his guy. but the rest of his warband was failing to open a chest. So that was kind of a bummer for him. Look at these lovely painted lads with matching grappling hooks. All of my guys decided climbing up this tower was the best move, and then I clobbered his dude down the tower. That was the best moment in the whole game for me. From the highest point, I pushed him down. He did not die, but that did secure me the victory. And these name tags were a perfect match for moments like this. And that's what this game is all about. The rest of the game was me just standing up there, defending this high point with all I got, because I didn't get enough resource caches. And I did end up winning that game. So I had some time to look at everybody else playing their rounds before we headed into match 2, where I played against Ben. And Ben's warband is amazing. Look at this snail knight with a mace lance. These other guys are fantastic as well. I really love this board that we played on as well. It reminded me of Dark Souls. The game started with Ben's scavenger going for a chest and then immediately coming to regret that, because I straight up murdered him immediately. I felt really bad, but I couldn't not do it. At least we got to exchange some bits. Well, he just gave me some. I didn't actually have any left over after Spiel. Flo also made a debut as a mad mule, which is a fun rule where you can have like an insane person running around. And then I ended up winning my second game as well against Ben, matching me up with Martin for my last game. And this was maybe the most intense game of the whole day. Well, definitely the most intense game. It started with this Stormcast guy just walking into the front door of this castle, and then we had a scrap there, my brute against his knight, which is a tough matchup because the knight is very defensive. And then he just went for all of the resource caches again, forcing me to kind of go up this tower to get those victory points. And then it was just a scrap in the courtyard, and it was really, really close. My scavenger almost ended up dying, and I used all of my resource cache items, but I did also win my third game. And then it was on to the final game. Paul had made a special mini for everyone. He sculpted this the day before the tournament, I believe. It's a beautiful, beautiful knight on like a little wooden horse, which was so nice. Thank you, Paul. You're the best. And then the last game was a free-for-all. Everybody brings one warrior onto this giant cake castle, where everybody just tried to climb to the top as fast as possible because the creeping death kept rising to higher and higher levels. And it was such a scrap. I mean, the scavenger meta was real for sure. They're just very good at climbing. I did end up being one of the last 3 guys on the top, but then I sadly did not stay there because I was dirty daggered in the back, forcing me to fall down the tower, and then someone else took my place. You can't win them all. Really, really happy for Dom, who ended up being victorious in this last free-for-all game.
And then, of course, we have the winner of the most fun. So with 1 victory point, we have Martin. Then on the 3rd place, we have a tie with 6 victory points between Tim and Dirk. So the 3rd prize goes to Dirk. On the 1st place, second and 1st place, we have a tie again. So Max, you got 8 victory points. And Paul, you got 8 victory points. And it was fucking close because Paul, sorry, but you only got 14 points extra. But Max, you got 15. So Paul,
1 point difference.
For you.
Oh wow!
Congratulations.
So yeah, incredibly, I ended up winning the tournament. I don't know how I did that. I think it was dumb luck more than skill. Or maybe the brute and the scavenger are OP. I actually didn't end up using my blacksmith at all in any of my games, which was a bit of a bummer, but maybe for the best. Thank you so much to everyone who came, and of course to Flo and Chris for organizing this. I had so much fun. I don't know what else to say. This was amazing. I never thought I would even win a single game. I was completely prepared to lose all of them. So yeah, winning my first ever gaming tournament feels great, and I am so enormously grateful to be part of such a lovely, beautiful community. I hope you enjoyed this little recap. I hope you enjoyed the build and the painting part of the video as well. And I hope to see you in the next one. Subscribe!